Okay, are the Niners delusional to ask for a first for Jimmy Garoppolo? Delusional. I mean, Jets couldn't get that for Sam Darnold.
Delusional. I don't know if I'd say delusional, but I don't think they're going to get a first. They're not going to get. I don't think somebody's going to just give them a first round pick necessarily. We kind of, I think on this one, it's one of those situations where in order to get a first round pick, it's going to be a second at first, and then somehow, some way, based off of something that he's got to do with his new team, might kick it into a second round pick next year. I think that's probably what's most likely. But for one of our topics later on, I sure hope they can get a first.
I think they're delusional if they think he's worth a first, but I do not think they're delusional to ask for one, because it's just, it's just basic business negotiations. Like I go high, you go low, and we find a middle ground, So I think in this case, like the best case scenario for me, thinking that, hey, if you can get a conditional third, and that turns into a second, it's based on his starts, because that's pretty much what's going to be predicated on. I see no way that they can just get a straight up pick without it being conditional, given his history. He's missed almost about half his games. So you take that into account, it's going to have to be like no way on earth that some team is going to draft to even take a first from them. I mean, even the Patriots, who love them, with the Patriots, Patriots is probably the only team that's going to go after him. There's no way Bill, knowing in his mind, he's like, I'm not going to, take it. I'm not going to, you guys paid a second for him. I'm not going to, increase his value even though his value is like even lower than when the time you guys got him. So I think that's what you're looking at, a third, maybe even a fourth from them. But I see no way in heck the ceiling for him is more than a third.
Feels a little delusional here. It feels like every day that goes by, every move that they make, every word that they say lowers his value. I mean, in 2 weeks, they're going to draft a quarterback. His value is going to go down. And then in training camp, if he's still on the team, he's going to lose the training camp, the competition, and his value will go down, or he'll win it and then he'll get hurt and his value will go down. I just feel like, I don't know why they're either holding on to him for one of two reasons. One, they're lying and they're going to trade him on draft day and they're just waiting to get as much as they can. Or two, they really are afraid that this rookie won't be ready to play next season, which is just unfathomable that they would trade up for someone that they don't think can play right away. I don't know. Which one do you think is more likely?
The one you said about them being ready. Because they knowing them, even though they took this big risk finally of going from 12 to 3, look at their past. They've been more like conservative, calculated risk side. So I guess in this sense, like, hey, we keep Garoppolo, and like what Jackson says to his county argument against me, hey, they can keep Garoppolo. It's not going to be a big deal if they keep him, because even if they cut him, where's that cap space really going to go to this season?
Yeah, and I think if they do trade him, it's going to be after the first night of the draft. It's going to be in the lead up to the start of day 2. That's when we're going to see that movie.
Mm-hmm. How come?
Because at that point they have their guy.
Yeah.
And once they get their guy and they know they're locked in, that's when those conversations are going to start. It's going to be very similar to the McGlinchey deal with Trent Brown.
Yes.
You think the 49ers are going to have to give up a trap pick themselves? I think so.
They might have to.
They might have to.
Depending on how high they want to go.
Good point.
Yeah.
Peter says, would teams avoid choosing Jones for social reasons? All 32 teams passed on Dak for a DUI till 4th round, who was developed playing in the SEC too. What do you guys think? Hard to say. I guess we'll find out. I mean, it's possible, but everything we're hearing is that the answer is no.
But what the DUI though was from high school for Jones. Didn't Dak happen like the week of, or
it happened like the month of? Yeah,
that's hot boy, man. So we're just like was it Laramie Tunsil with the gas mask? That's also a reason why he fell. So
True.
Recency bias does play into this.
That's a good point. Let's say Niners take Fields for 3 and they do exactly what you assume they would do with the rest of the picks this year. Super Bowl bound. I don't think so.
It's just no.
I don't think
so.
Fields is my starter.
The only way I would do that is if Fields actually turns into like Herbert from last year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule out, but I mean that's the only way I could see it.
I don't think so. I think they'd actually have a better chance getting someone like Sewell or Pitts and hoping that Garoppolo can make it through an entire season, but maybe that's a low chance too.